So what I'm here to do is what we always do. I'm going to get a little background on the author. Sarah Maas, obviously super amazingly talented, killing it. Tons of books in circulation. Has some really heavy hitters. I've heard to her that she had like the same impact on the book, like what would you call it? Not necessarily community, but the whole industry. She brought a lot of people back to books and so on and so forth. When I first became a bookseller again, after so many years of not being a bookseller, she was one of the first names that kept kind of very quickly reoccurring in my existence. She was at the time. It was Sarah Maas, Frida McFadden, and Colleen Hoover. Like every single show that was like, do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Not much has changed, but it's not as frequent. So, and I've actually not read the Maas verse, and it is on my list. So here's what we've done. I asked ChatGPT to give me some background and kind of her publications. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to eBay. And this is what used to be called Terapeak and its research. And we're actually going to go through and see what's actually selling. Like what are the hot things? You can see here, there's some pretty big fat numbers, 2,000, and these are sold things. So what are these? Can we be looking for them? We'll go down to like maybe like some $50 books and things like that, something more reasonable, things we might actually find. And we'll kind of spend some time on some covers and different things like that. The Queen of Glass story is that's what I'm hearing. And I did cheat and kind of read the first paragraph, and I'm sold. I knew of her. Of course I've sold her books probably a bajillion times, but I've never actually taken the moment to go, hey, what's the actual plot to this thing? Do you know what I mean? I fully plan on reading it. Right after I find and finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. Right after I finish the other 275,436 books on my TBR that I consistently promise and lie to myself that I will eventually read. Please, Lord, make me a cyborg, but not Elon. No Elon cyborgs. So anyway, that's what we're going to do from the company. If you want a controversy with their books in a way, Fairy Loot released a mock-up of Thrown in Glass, but pulled it due to copycat feels. Interesting. So what are you saying, that they released a cover that was too close to what she had already released and was worried that Sarah was going to kind of sue him, or an artist or something? Maybe we'll look into that from the company Acrylipics. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. So, all right, here we go. Sarah Maas, what do you got for me? So this was the prompt I used. Give me a quick breakdown of Sarah Maas. Tell me a bit of her backstory, her journey to where she is, what books she has coming out. Give me a list of all her currently released books in publication and series order. Brief synopses of the overall series themselves. And please note any insanely collectible books. So what it spit out, and again, with AI, always got to double check it. Take a lot of this as a grain of salt. This thing, you never know what the hell is spitting out. I generally use it to start my research and then go, we'll hop over to eBay and we'll actually start looking stuff up and put some rubber to the road, as it were. But this is usually a good primer or primer if you're from the States. They released an edge design that was too similar. When people got mad. Okay. And then did they pull it or something? Or did they just let people get mad? All right, so where we are as of August 2026, which is now, she has sold more than 75 million books worldwide. That is a shit ton. Published in 40 different languages. That's like J.K. Rowling Harry Potter numbers. You know what I'm saying? Maas started. Is it Maas? Am I saying that right? Is it Maas or Maas? I assume the double A is an ah, but I could be wrong, and I might sound like an idiot this whole video. And I'm sorry. Somebody help me out. Is it Maas? Okay, thank you, Feathers and Fiction, because that would be really bad. Maas started writing Thrown in Glass when she was 16. Amen. Originally posted it online at Fiction Press, which I think in context is kind of like a Wattpad kind of a situation, under the title Queen of Glass. So it wasn't even originally released as Throne of Glass, which is what it's a Kotar, right? Anyway, became one of the site's most popular series. The basic concept was essentially, what if Cinderella were an assassin? Which is fucking cool. That's a cool premise. You know what I'm saying? I love shit like that. I love the what if. They take the history or the folklore or the fairy tales that we all know and grew up. That's part of our zeitgeist. Almost like the human makeup. And then But what if this happened? What if Mary Jane was bit by the radioactive spider? What if, you know what I'm saying? I love the what if series. Like, anyway, so this is cool. I didn't know that, actually. She signed with agent Tamara Riddis in 2009. Bloomsbury bought it in 2010, became the debut novel in 2012. What was I doing in 2012? Not this. I was just starting my career at the American Pool Players Association, so I was nowhere near any of this. Then came A Court of Thorns and Roses, and so this is a separate series. Okay, that's really where the modern romantasy phenomenon. So Queen of Glass is a whole different deal. Oop! Hit the button. Nope. Am I understanding this correctly? She took the story down. Okay, so she signed, Bloomsbury bought. It's the same thing. Okay. So Queen of Glass, Throne of Glass, same thing. Court of Thorns and Roses, something different. Am I understanding that correctly? The release and edge designs too similar. Gotcha. They did label. Gotcha. Queen of Glass is Throne of Glass original. 3 main series, all same universe. Okay. So she's got some Cassandra Clare stuff going on, as I understand it. She followed that with Crescent. Okay, so these are 3 different series, and they're all part of the same overall universe. She's going like Discworld on us. She's going to be one of those authors that have like a Steve from like 50 years from now is going to have like 120 Sarah Maas novels. That's really cool. Main series, Throne of Glass, Cone of Thorns, and Crescent City, in that order. Okay, it's in here. Queen came first. She sat on a throne. No, the queen sat on the throne, then had court, and then ruled the city. That's how I'll remember that. That will be my mnemonic. So yeah. So Queen of Glass came first, which turned into Throne of Glass, which led to the court, which managed the city. It'll work. So she basically, the romantasy phenomenon exploded. And again, from just one man's context, from one just coming into the scene in probably 2021, 2022. I didn't know romantasy was a thing, and I very quickly found out it was a thing. And again, at the time, she was just all over the place. She followed that with Crescent City beginning. So Crescent City had probably just come out, and so she was probably just, everyone was just, which rightfully so. And eventually she revealed that these aren't entirely separate universe, the Mossverse, which there's going to be movies at some point, team. Save all those first editions. They're going to be worth a fortune. I'm telling you now, team. There's that Tism again. I can say that because my Tism was also happy. Hey, nothing wrong with Tism. I appreciate the solidarity. I know who I is. So the trajectory, in short, teenage internet writer, traditionally published young adult, best-selling fantasy, architect of 3 series fantasy universe, and then now one of the biggest authors in the world. And she absolutely is. And her earliest editions have already become collectible. That's one of my favorite TikToks to come across is like when somebody goes to like a half price books and they happen to be in the Sarah Maas aisle. And for some reason, all her old stuff got to the shelf at the new stuff's price. And it's like the joy, it's just, I dig it because that's what I do for a living, right? That moment, I know that intimately and I like to, it's fun, right? Living life vicariously. But anyway, Throne of Glass, I'm not going to go into exactly what everything is about, but remember the throne, the queen sat on the throne. So wow. So this is the whole series. Oh, wait, no. So you're saying there's 8 books in the first series? Holy smokes. Which one do I have? Court of Thorns and Roses. Okay, so this is the second series. All right. Holy smokes. I didn't realize that this was an 8-book series. But you guys already knew. There's a note here. This one is particularly interesting because the individual novellas were originally published separately, but collected into The Assassin's Blade. So if you ever encounter the Assassin and the Pirate Lord, blah, 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 editions, don't assume they're random reprints. They are, and I bet you they're probably relatively rare. And I think probably in this case, rarity is going to lead directly to value. Even though, of course, value isn't always the most important thing, but it is something you need to be aware of. Don't leave money on the table for yourself, guys. Whether you're a reseller or they're your books that you're moving on, you that's yours, but you have to be aware of it to get it. So you know what I'm saying? So 8 books in that series. People also debate when to read Assassin's Blade. Interesting. The first series. Oh, so she's even writing them concurrently, with the exception of this first series, which is now completed at 8 books. So that's like Robert Jordan like levels of like books, and I've seen these aren't like small books. I mean, they're not like Robert Jordan, like, you know, whichever one that was. It was like freaking 1,200 pages or whatever it was. Oh, publisher date versus timeline. I would love to get individual books from AB, but I bet we'll look that up. Let me write that down on my Post-it note so we can look up individual. What was that? It says Assassin's Blade, individual Assassin's Blade. We'll kind of see what the value is on those and kind of what those look like. Cause like, what do the covers even look like? Books. That's interesting. And that came out in 2014. And you got to think that's 12 years ago already, guys. We're fucking old. Do you know what I mean? So collectability very high, obviously, for all the same things. And of course, don't forget ARCs. The advanced readers copies that come out kind of before the first editions. Those things are worth a ton. People debate whether to read Tower of Dawn. Like, people got to read the fluffing book the author. I love it. Okay, cool. So Court of Thorns and Roses, this is probably more where I jumped on the scene and the one I'm probably most familiar with and have seen the most often. To be fair, I, just like it took me forever to wrap my head around the Cassandra Clare stuff, I am just now, like, obviously you guys have been with me, you're watching it in real time. I'm just now starting to like realize like what everything is and how it all lays out. So I'm glad we did this. I feel... let me read this. The Court of Thorns and Roses. Actually, let me come back up here. I do want to read the series synopsis. Throne of Glass, which is the technically first series, epic fantasy romance following assassin Selena Serdothian, who begins as a condemned assassin competing for her freedom and gradually becomes embroiled in a much larger magical political struggle. And again, this is the Cinderella assassin. So that's cool. All right, then what is this one about? Romantic fantasy set in the fairy world of Prythian, beginning with huntress Fier Arsharon. Very Oberon-esque sounding. I am sure I'm mispronouncing this, and I apologize. Who is dragged across the boundary between the human and fairy worlds. It starts as a Beauty and the Beast-ish fantasy. See, that's cool. No wonder these are cool. So the first one's Cinderella, then we got Beauty and the Beast. So this is like more hardcore, like Marissa Myers stuff. But like, anyway, fantasy, not cyborg. Collectible, extremely high. Okay. And I have come across my fair share. I've never come across anything signed. You've seen a TikTok of me dancing a jig. So, yeah, okay. So that's obvious there. Crescent City. I have seen some Crescent City. Urban fantasy, romantasy set in a technologically advanced magical world. We know this is the same world. Following half-human, half-fae Bryce Quinlan as she investigates a devastating murder and becomes involved in conflict involving angels. Love it. I love angels and demons fiction. Like not like a traditional, not like nonfiction. Like, I like the stories, and I like I just read Between Two Fires, which is kind of a Christian demon kind of fight. I love it when heaven and hell go at it, and they kind of are, anyway. Eventually becomes the biggest piece of the Mossverse crossover. All right, so you guys see these, and these are newer. And then she wrote Catwoman. Oh, really? We'll look that up, too. That's kind of random. Catwoman, Soul Stealer was a DC Icon series. That's interesting. It's basically Sarah J. Maas writes Catwoman. Fair. Succinct. Oh, someone made a bin purchase. Oh, thank you, whoever. Thank you for pointing that out, Wolf. Oh, and thank you for buying that Bible. That Bible is cool, and it looks like brand stankin'. I gotta do the stanky leg over here. Stinking. This is my only second cup of coffee, so do bear with me. Thank you, Wolf, for pointing that out, and good morning, Jocelyn. And thank you, Hannah, who picked that Bible up. It's a real nice Bible. I just picked it up the other day. Our publications at a glance. You can see that here. I won't go over that. I'm kind of digging in. Okay, so and this is relevant. A Court of Thorns and Roses 6 and 7 are going to come out. Well, I almost said back to back, but that's for books. That's pretty back to back. So October 27th. So for Halloween, and then right after Christmas, but in time for Valentine's Day. Thank you, Hannah, for picking up that Gabrielle's. You're picking up some nice books, homie. The signed tomorrow. If you're hunting her books for your inventory, I don't need to do all that. I'm going to pick them all up. Don't ignore, but ordinary copies aren't the jet. I would never ignore anything with Sarah Maas's name on it. For a while, I was telling people, I was like, because without even understanding how popular she was, I was telling folks, I was like, look, if you see that MAAS, I don't care what it is, pick it up. Somebody's going to want it. You know what I mean? All right, so let's, so that we got a little background. Let's kind of go into some of her stuff. For those that don't know, this is what was called a Terapeak. It's also called, they just call it research now. I'm not promoting eBay in any way. Obviously, a lot of people are everywhere. We all know these things exist. Whatnot is a better, I think, platform all around, lower fees, all that stuff. Don't yell at me, Whatnot, for showing eBay. But anyway, what this does is it shows everything that's sold, what's active, and it kind of gives us some data, some peak points, and all that kind of stuff. What I have kind of noticed here, you see a lot of $2,000, but you see these are a lot of the same things, so we're only going to look at it once. The Throne of Glass miniature character collection. Here is a advanced proof. I'm kind of scroll through this really fast so we can kind of get to the different stuff. Here's an I think that's the same arc. Yeah, these are the same arcs. Hardback to sign. We'll kind of look at all those. Sorry if I'm squinting. I'm old. I should probably make this a bigger screen. Ooh, that's pretty. Look at that. I love those sealed box sets. We'll look at that. Let's look at that and that. All right, we're going to go to page 2. We're going to look at a lot of different books here, I think, just because there's so many. But we'll kind of pause on each page and kind of take in what we've seen. The Throne of Glass minis are insane. It looks to be. We still don't know the titles. That's cool. If you follow me on Facebook, I have followed like a lot of new book news aggregators because I just consume news. Anyway, nerd. I post that stuff constantly as it comes out. So if you're looking for a place to get kind of what's what going on in the actual industry, and then you also see me bitch about politics. It's super fun. I will forever kick myself for seeing the minis in the store and not buying them. Oh no, woof. Internet hugs and commiseration, friend. They were too tiny. I literally couldn't read them. Oh no. Do I dare ask how much were they at retail at the time? You saw them in the store at retail, right? I know the out of print Throne of Glass are highly sought out. They absolutely are. Oh, woof, you poor thing. So this is what Wolf is talking about. That she decided to skip. You can see, if you ever see that sticker, that miniature Throne of Glass character collection with these covers specifically, good times. These are the first 8. This would be the the queen sits on the throne of glass. See, it works. My blind butt was like, I can't read this. I'm sorry. I have no other words for you. We have all been there. We've all made that mistake. I have made, as a comic book collector, as a youth, I hear you. So, but yeah, so look for these. There's all 8 of them. They're tiny, apparently. They're literally little minis. I'm not going to lie. When I first looked these up and I became aware of these before I actually saw them, I had first thought they were like Star Wars collector cup kind of things, or like Lord of the Rings collector cups, which they have. So anyway, $2,000 if you can get all 8. So whatever 2,000 divided by 8 is. So there's that. Here is an arc. Now this is a paperback team, and that happens to be your signature. And do bear that into your mind, because you might open up a cover of a book, and because that is barely legible. Like, you can see the S, and I guess that's a big ass J, and there's your M. But if you're going fast and you're processing books, obviously you're not throwing a Sarah Maas book back anyway, but just do be aware that looks like a scribble. But this scribble happens to be about $2,500. That's a sold price. And so what these are, this would have been her very first book, apparently. So this is her first book as an advanced uncorrected proof. So the timeline would have been, she got super popular online, pulled the book down, started working with a publisher, and then this would have come out. This would have been the first print like a physical book that someone could have had in their hand. This is it. Nick's named the Barbie cover. Okay, I did. I thank you for that. I would have had, I could see why they would call it that. So this is the Grail team, 2012. You see right there, Sarah J. Maas. Here's your spine. She just started working with Bloomsbury. You have to say it epic or it doesn't count. So there you go. That's what you're back. And of course on the ARCs, because the advanced reading copies, a lot of times these are going out to editors and industry people. And so they talk, this is how we're going to market. This is how we're going to publish it. This is kind of a peek behind the scenes of kind of how it all comes together. And you can see at the bottom here, it'll even give the dimensions of the books, expected price, when it's coming, all of that stuff. So that's what an ARC is. And you can see them all. There's a lot of people have ARCs. I find a shit ton because scanners always leaving them behind because there's no barcode on the back. So I do find a preponderance of things. A lot of them are more cool than collectible because not every book takes off. But if you find a book of an ARC of any name that you recognize, just take a moment and look it up. Because there's no real rhyme or reason to them, and some of them are just like insanely expensive. This one we know why. $2,500, and a lot of times they're at the beginning of their career. Well, not always, I guess. Okay, so this would be her second series, first 4 books. Is that right? And these are, I guess, the first edition covers. What are these different? Oh, these are signed. These are cool. Yes. Okay. So have they released this series again in another hardcover with different art? These are original covers. Okay. So because a lot of times they'll do like a first edition, right? In the first print, second print, third print might have some art, and then they might change the art on the 5th print, 6th print, 7th print. Doesn't mean it's a new edition because the contents are exactly the same. It's just the art that changed. Oh, they have mismatched spines. Now, what does that mean exactly? Let's look. What does that mean? These so okay, so when you see the new covers, so you're saying the whole new release of the new covers are mismatched on purpose, or are you saying that they're mismatched from the original covers? Thank you for the share, middle. The new covers are ugly. Oh no. I do like these. I've never found a hardcover. These signed ones, these went for $1,000. So, we'll try to find them unsigned so we can kind of get an idea of what they're actually like. Okay. So these I've seen. I've not necessarily seen this in hardcover, but I have seen this in the Silver Flames. I've seen that in Mismatched originally because the first 4 books are one. And as we can see here, okay, I see what you're saying. And these are. So let me ask, Wolf. Did they ever go back and re-release like A Court of Thorns and Roses in the 5th book's art style? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Did they eventually go back and match it and re-release the 4? Because that would irritate. They are now, it's still ugly. Okay. I'm with you. I do like the appeal of the first covers. I think these are really neat. I dig the art style. I'm with you. I would rather them release the rest of them in the old art style. I don't wonder why they made that decision. So these are all first editions. You can see here they went for $750. There's 5 of them, so do the math there. Not too shabby. So what's that, $150 a piece? Something like that, 150 times 5? That's $750, right? Yep. $150 a first print. That's what we're looking at. To appeal to adults, fucking focus groups. Excuse my language, YouTube. Beep. I'm not going to edit this. That's what happened. Some focus group. I mean, like, I can see the argument. I can't even say they're wrong necessarily, but I don't like it. If that's fair. So this is a nice box set, sealed, $750. And are these a different, even a third art? Oh, this is the first series. So because there's the whole set. This is the first. And there's that's one that's off the different path, the Assassin's Blade. Gotcha. Ooh, I haven't seen the UK version yet. So here's the first edition, Court of Thorns. I can't talk. A Kotar. I'll say that, and I'll say it just like that. No, I'm kidding. That'll get old fast. $600 on that. It does have a signature. Again, do be aware that is her signature. I am actually sick to my stomach, thinking I may have missed it. because I may have thought that was a scribble, and now I'm sad. Here's your, this is the 5th book in the series, Books a Million, signed exclusive edition. There's your signature, very pretty. There's Miss Sarah. Hi, Miss Sarah. Nice black and white photo. I like that ring she's got on. Pose is good. All right, moving on from that one. And here's Kingdom of Ash. Is this in the first set? Throne of Glass. Yep, down here. So again, her signature is what's going to make this so expensive. And I guess that's the first edition as well. Let's make sure. Yep, Sarah Maas exclusive. That's cool. Let's go back over chart. We're on the second page now, I believe. Yes. Yeah. So we're going to try not to pull up the same stuff we've already looked at, but I am going to try to parse this relatively quickly. We just saw that one. And excuse me while I do the squinty eyes. I'm 44 this year, team. Right, Jocelyn? If you're still here. We'll look at that one. We didn't see A Court of Mist and Fury yet. I think that's the same box set. Did they sell that box set at Target? It looks familiar to me. Heir of Fire, that one we haven't seen yet. All right, let's go to page 3 because that was a lot of the same stuff. Still here? Good. What's up, friend? Are you doing the squinty eye thing? Have you made your text large on your phone yet? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Or we can just, cry together. A lot of the same stuff. I'm going to parse it real fast. A lot of the box sets again. All right, we're going to go to page. I want to get to kind of her more like realistic stuff. Like if I were to go to a thrift store or, what's that? Oh, this is the acrylics thing you were talking about, Wolf. All right, let's pull that up. Tell us more about this again. First, are these, that's a pretty spine though. Oh, that's gorgeous. So you're saying this came first and then another company tried to copy it, or this company did the copying? Different design, but yes, okay. But I already wear glasses. There you go, Jocelyn. Okay, that's what I need. I need to commit to glasses. My issue with glasses is that I lose them, and my tism will not allow me to shove things into my eyes. So contacts are never going to happen. I would rather stab my eye with a fork because that would be more pleasant than the thought of having to shove something into my eye every day. And yes, I understand that's unreasonable. My tism does not care. I do not get to choose. But as unreasonable as it is, in glasses, the ADD side of me loses consistently. So I've just resigned myself to being near blind. Fairy Loot. Okay, so acrylics. Now, did Fairy Loot, did it do it like knowing, or... I mean, it's kind of hard to come on exactly the same design. Nerdy Ink. I've not seen that before. Here's another Nerdy Ink set. I mean, we got to burn Fairy Loot down, I guess is what I'm asking. With righteous anger. No, I'm kidding. But not really. Don't steal people's work. That's shitty. I used to be a professional photographer, sold tons of prints, and like, there's not a whole lot you can do. Like, if somebody wants to steal your stuff, unless you just want to devote like a lot of energy, which I do not. But it is aggravating. And also when I worked at the corporation I worked at, one of my job functions was to kind of monitor the online content to see if anybody was stealing or using, because we were the big dogs in the space, and so people would copy us a lot, and they would take our artwork a lot. A lot of the times it was my team that made that work, and so I would walk my ass down to the lawyer and say, here, I'd send him an email too with links and stuff, but I got another one, and he would send his little nasty cease and desist. We never actually sued anybody. We just wanted them to stop using our stuff. Because, it does create like brand confusion, you know what I'm saying? Because there's authority in a name, and that there's value in that. So, very similar, unfortunately, yeah. So like my deal, like if it wasn't done on purpose, like a lot of times, like when you go to Discovery, like if you were ever to go to Discovery, if it was that big, like with this kind of money, it might be a big deal. I've never had content that mattered this much. I'm not that cool. But like when lots of money exchanges hands, yeah, people get a little pissy. So, but then like you go to Discovery and then like you can show that, hey, you know, this has been in the works forever, and, you know, a lot of, you know, sometimes there is malice. Sometimes it's, you know, it's just an accident. I personally have I'm not a sue guy. All right, I think we pulled up a good chunk. But I have sent my fair share, and you can reverse image search a lot of stuff now, so it's quite easy. Here's another Court of Thorns, and I don't know why I can't say that. But that's another signed one. We won't spend any time there. Here is, this is one of the miniatures. So this is neat. So this is probably one of the more, it seems kind of, you know, is it more sought after than the other ones? But this is what the little miniatures look like. So, and I guess I assume, is that a lady's hand? I can't tell. Ladies, is that a lady's hand? I don't know anything about hands. Anywho, because I'm trying to get like, unfortunately, no Frida Bixley. I'm so sorry. The Frida goes quick and I didn't find any. I haven't found Frida in a while, speaking of which. So, but here's why that's the miniature. I think that's a lady's hand. That thumbnail is a little on the long side. So to kind of give you a context of how small that book really is, that's the only reason I'm trying to figure out if it's a guy's hand. My hand is substantially bigger than my wife's. So there's that. These are Throne of Glass. I have never seen these. What are these little bookmark things? What is this? Special edition. Is this the rebind or did somebody do this? Maybe it could be a petite man. I'm not trying to be judgy. Someone did that. Okay, this is cool though. So this is all like custom art and all that. They put the things and that's neat. I've seen TikToks where people do this. They're like ASMR videos to me. Like listening to ocean waves. So that's really neat art. Who's the author? Kindrak 2011. I bet she's the artist. Nothing came up, but that's all right. We'll move on. Here's a first edition Court of Mist and Fury. I wonder if that's signed for that price. Yep, there's your SJM. There you go. Very nice, very nice. The Hemingway are heirloom book designs for glass. I agree. I do agree. Here's Airfire, another signed first edition. These are and you could tell because it's a character cover. Is that a character? I guess they're all like that, huh? Or is that's not a mini, is it? That's a regular one. $500. Dang. So these are neat because likely they got these standing in some line. Here's the Illumi crate or the Acrylipics. They do custom stuff like that. Here's another ARC, another advanced reading copy. I talk about these all the time. $400 for this. And just be on the lookout. They're super rare, obviously, for $400. Anything $400 is going to be rare, but they're out there. I find ARCs all the time. Pretty rare for them to get down to me, though. I don't expect to find a Sarah Maas ARC. That would be pretty rare. What's up, Mermaid? So what are these? Are these custom rebinds too? Oh, Nerdy Ink. Do you guys know about Nerdy Ink? I'm not familiar with it. So this set was $250. I do like those covers. They kind of give me like tarot card vibes. You know what I'm saying? Custom Dutch Jack. Good morning, friend. Yeah, those are neat. Is it just the covers they're selling or is it the books too? I wonder. Let's look at the description. No, it's a book, it says. Oh, no. Dust covers only, friend. Do not include the actual books. That would be surprising if you expected them all. So you're just buying the covers here. And that's interesting. That's probably stock art too. Not the art for the covers themselves, but the photos of the books that contain the art is a stock photo, if that makes sense. This store keeps going in and out of business. Oh no. That's not great. It's got to be a hard business model. Here's another Acrylipics. And so these, they'd obviously have to send you these. So what these guys probably got going, they have the printers. Do they have a deal with the publisher that they can do this? That Fairy Loot. This is the one that Fairy Loot copycatted? Okay. It's a really pretty design. Really gorgeous. I wonder how the model works. Do they have a deal with the publisher to where, the publisher will actually send them blanks and then they run them through their printers, or you know what I'm saying? Like, or do they, like what the deal is? Is that how it works? Okay, cool. Because you would think they would have to have some sort of licensing deal, right? So here's the Assassin's Blade BookCon 2018, the novellas. I think I have found a copy of this, but it was not signed. That would be pretty awesome. And again, like I haven't found any Sarah Maas except for like these ones in such a long time. No one's letting them go. It's getting, which is a good thing. Like, I'm not upset by it. Like, I would rather them be in people's collections. Being passed on. Throne of Glass. Oh, this is cool. Whole box set. This is one of my favorite songs, too, by the way. Bloomsbury. The world will be saved. We're made by the dreamers. Amen. Poster. Yeah, those are cool. $240 for that one. Brand new. What's this here? Crescent Cities are these hardcovers. Yeah. Oh, here are the Illumi crate. Oh, wow. Okay. Lots of fun stuff in the inside there. These are neat. House of Sky and Breath. I'm not familiar with that one. Is that Crescent City? Yeah, Crescent City. I'll have all this memorized at one point, team. In 3 months, you'll be able to quiz me on this. Assuming I find some. That usually is what cements things in my brain is finding a preponderance of them. Like it's like I love doing this. It's like the best ADHD job in the world because like chaos dictates what you find. And that's a lot easier for executive function to like dial in on because it's not a choice that I made. Do you know what I'm saying? It was chaos that brought to me and I like chaos. So what did chaos bring me? And it's fun. So you go to a yard sale and you're like, hey, what's that big giant or whatever the hell that is? I don't, $10. Can I have it? And then you got like a weekend full of ADD because you don't know what the hell it is you just bought. But do that with books a bunch and then you'll learn a lot of random shit. It's pretty fun. So this looks to be just like a giant collection. Just like the 88 or those were UK covers. Is that what those were, Wolf? But I'm sorry, I just saw your comment. Oh, these are UK covers. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Or you want me to look up UK covers? Oh, the box set. Okay, I got you. The one with the white on it. Yeah, I got you. Okay, same page, club. Here's another miniature. Always be on the lookout for these little miniatures. I have never seen one. Not in a collection, nor in the wild. I'd need to go to actual bookstores more often. It's interesting because like I don't find myself like I'll buy when I need a new book. Of course, I go to the local bookstore. Here's a Queen of Shadows, Throne of Glass signed copy. Going to be a couple $100, I'm sure, $249. Because I live in the world of used books, but I very rarely find myself actually in a used book store because the only used book stores, with the exception of one, who doesn't really have like old stuff, or even though I need to go in there too. It's like half price books and those kind. And there's nothing. I love half price books. You guys have the best stickers, but I don't pop in a lot, so I don't know what kind of stuff they have available and for like what kind of pricing. These are really pretty. Have I seen one of these? I think that design is familiar. I don't think I've seen those. Those are Fairy Loots. That's cool. Sarah J. Maas, another signed copy, another $200. All right, we'll go through this list one more time. We'll see what we got. Let me go a couple of pages down. I want to get to like more reasonably costed things that are probably more likely for us to find in the wild. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me like it's all about percentages, right? Generally, the more expensive something is, the harder it is going to find. So I want to see where, like, in the $50 range, like what's actually going to be in the bottom of a bin or in a box on Marketplace or whatever. It's probably unlikely you're going to find a full set of Throne of Glass miniatures. Could happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. It's just unlikely to happen. You know what I'm saying? So let's jump into the realm of higher probability, which probably will be the worst Willy Wonka song. Anyway, dumb joke. All right, so let's see here. We haven't seen this. Kingdom of Ash. But you know what? Here's paperbacks. Oh, so the out of print covers. Wolf, this is always something you're trying to help me on. is like, what are the out of print covers? And you see that a lot again when like the earlier prints will go with one art, and you know, different editions, later prints they might go with different art. Earlier art becomes collectible because it's harder to find, and then you have collectors, completionists, etc. All right, that one was new. Dang, I knew she had a bunch of series, but why I didn't notice? I didn't read them all. I'm new to her. So going to back up for you, Boxy. We had this. She's had 3 main series. Let me see. We have the first, chronologically, I guess, is the Throne of Glass series, which has 8 books in it as of now. Then the probably the most famous one is the Court of Thorns and Roses series, which has currently 5 books in it with 2 coming out, as I understand it. I think it told us at the bottom there. And this is probably the one that most people are most familiar with. This is Sleeping Beauty. First one, Snow White. Different takes, much cooler. Not that the other original ones were cool, just we've heard them. And then the Crescent City, which, you know, chronologically in time is the most future-based one, as I understand it. And if I'm saying anything wrong, team, feel free to correct me. I'm not interested in being right. I'm interested in being correct. So there's no pride here. So if I say something stupid, fix me. I've been married a long time. It's okay. And then there's 3, I guess, so far in Crescent City. And I guess there's more on the way with that. I'm not sure. So there's the whole list, including this Catwoman here, which is a DC comic. And then here's their 2 upcoming ones. What's up, Rosman? That's where we're at. That's where we're at on old Sarah. That's what she's got going on. So here's the Assassin's Blade. Again, so this is that book, and you can see it's even 13th print here. Even a 13th print, this is still pulling, you know, $50-$60. This is probably a reasonable find. This, though, I bet would be hard to get from the scanners, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's prime. You'll have to be quick to get that one. It's probably why I never see them. I'm more zag when they zig and zig when they zag. I can't beat them on speed, so I don't try to fight them on speed. You know what I'm saying? So I try to play the game in a way I can win it. How are you? Oh, reading. How you doing? Good. I'm hanging in there, swinging and ducking. I've never read a Sarah Maas book and have no desire to. I'm not big fan. That's right on. Certainly do not have to. Sarah Maas. There we go. Tower of Dawn. That's here's the UK version. That's a UK cover there. So I guess that's kind of their vibe, at least for that series, Throne of Glass, which is the first one about Snow White. What if Snow White was what if Sleeping Beauty was an assassin? Is that what it was? Am I already messing this up? Now I got to double check. And then we're going to look at a few more books, and then we're probably going to raid somebody, and then we'll get on with our days. Epic Fantasy. It doesn't tell me. Oh, it was up here that it told me. Sorry to scroll. Yeah, Queen of Glass. Yeah, what if Cinderella were an assassin? There you go. I got to remember this. All right, so Empire of Storms. This is just an out of print cover. The Throne of Glass. Okay, she looks cool. She looks like that protagonist from the Cassandra Clare series too. Not Cassandra Clare. What is that lady's name? I can't remember. Crown at Midnight. Some more about out of print covers. Can't say I've seen these. We saw that one already. That's the UK cover. Kingdom of Ash. So many, can't wait to get into this. They seem neat. I will eventually get around to reading them, but like I have so many books on my TBR. It took me so long to get through this last book. I have not delved into the world of like audiobooks. I'm scared because like I am definitely that dude who will zone out in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? And then just like a book, right? I guess that's no different. Because I do that reading a book. I definitely have to go back and reread the page 10 times. That's how I know I need to take a break. But so I'm a bit slower than I used to be. I used to be able to put a book down a day. I just don't have that kind of time. Oh, here's the Soul Stiller. I'm not complaining. Believe me, I do read every day, but just not as much as I can. But I love reading when I'm waiting in line. That's usually my favorite. Here's the Catwoman Soul Stealer. I guess that's kind of an Anne Hathaway kind of take. I'm not aware of this series. They got oh, no, you know what? That's not true. I find that Wonder Woman one all the time. The one by Bardugo. Here's the Sarah. I didn't know this. I didn't know there was more of these. I've not seen any of these other ones besides the Wonder Woman one. So this one signed is $60. So probably the actual one, you're probably going to pull 5 to 15, maybe something like that. I don't like reading about stuff that is not real. I just finished reading about the War of the Roses. Amen. Rasma. So can't wait to get into these series, which was like the end of the middle. So I'm going through every book. I have my TBR got and realized quick that I need to stop by for a bit and start reading. That happens to us all. Book reading and book collecting are sometimes two different things. Sometimes, a lot of times, housed in the same person. So don't get overwhelmed. It is two different distinct hobbies. Curating, like you were a museum, right, is one thing. And also like curating a bookshelf is a process and expression of who you are. Now, if you're just a reader and don't care about all that, then yeah, you're behind. But if you have any of that second person in you, you're doing fine. The only limitation is space. And of course, money. I gave up on a TBR and just go through my collection, grab it. That's really my process too. And it's really kind of an executive functioning thing too, because like sometimes you don't get to decide. Do you know what I mean? Like you may have every intention to read this book next, but if like it's time and your brain's like, nah, what are you going to do? Right? You just go to the next one. Like Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Like I have intended to read that book for the longest time, but whenever I get to it, my heart's like, nah. Maybe you wait till the world is a little bit less on fire, then read that one. That's what like. But then I read whatever book I want to read. Then Cormac McCarthy comes back around, and all right, we're gonna have the same conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, do you source books? Yes, lots. I literally went. I've gone through 10 pallets of books in like 3 days. I'm cooked. Definitely focus on reading more these days than collecting or selling. Amen. That's why I have books written in Indian and Askari. That's really cool. I'm not even sure what Askari is. I have 6 bookshelves and they are full. Amen. I need to stop buying books to figure out where to put a new bookshelf. Or like, you know what we need to have, Mermaid, is another book swap. We need to call Natalie. Be like, hey, Natalie, it's fall. School started. Book swap time. You know what I'm saying? I have a whole library, 2 rooms, more than 3,000 books I will probably not read in a lifetime. Again, say you're a curator. There's nothing wrong with that. And that information is available to you upon needing. You know what I'm saying? You go to a professor's library, he hasn't necessarily read. He's probably read a good chunk of everything in there, but he hasn't read every book. Sometimes that book is there in case he needs it, or it's a representation of a different idea on something. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of reasons they have a book on a shelf without necessarily reading the whole thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So, reading A Little Life right now, so good. It's heavy. Yep. Gonna need a palate cleanser. Get overwhelmed sometimes seeing thick books because executive function intimidates. So I take a break, and I do that all the time, Boxy. It's not uncommon for me to have like 3 books. Usually something a little darker, something a little more fun, something usually quick, so I can get that dopamine hit on finishing a book. So they hold way more if you store the book. So yeah, less stress on the spine. The oldest book, if I can even call it like that, is a Sumerian coliform tablet from 30. But you don't speak Sumerian? Well, Rosman, why don't you speak Sumerian? I'm kidding, obviously. Too fun. All right. Couple more books here. And then, like I said, we'll find somebody to raid. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We will be back on tonight around 6 p.m. Central. This is a brand new rotation. It's like 400 books brand new to the shop. My wife and I have been really sourcing hard the last couple of days. We partner with a local Amazon book scan, like they scan books to send them off to Amazon and stuff. And they go through pallets and pallets and pallets, and whatever they don't send off, they recycle. And so they let me go and save the recycling. And I got to do it by hand. It's heavy, sweaty work, but I do it. And we go through and we pick everything out as much as we think we can find a home for. Could you source specific ones? If I said probably not designs, you could send me that list and I can always keep an eye out for them, but it's not like I don't have a distributor that I like would type in what your book is looking for. A local bookstore is probably your best bet for that. But if it's used books, yeah, you can send me a list. I just can't promise when I'll be able to fulfill it because like it's chaos. So, with that caveat, Sure. You know what I mean? I do have a running list of people that I know collect certain things. Like I know who collects Stephen King. I know who collects this or that. So I do have like I'm like a be on the lookout for kind of more list. Is that kind of more what you mean? So I can definitely do that. You know, yeah, okay, yeah, yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. That's my tism, being literal. But yeah. If you, especially because it might not be somebody I'm aware of, and then I really appreciate you guys sending me your want lists, because then it gives me an opportunity to go, who the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And then I get to learn something. So, oh, what happened? It was stolen. A lot of pipe. They took it to clay tablet or whatever. They gave it to them because in Italy, transition. Weird. There was a guy at college where I was studying in Italy. Oh, he knows how to write Sumerian, and because they were messing with his passport, jeez, he took a clay tablet. That's funny. Malicious compliance. I respect that. That's fantastic. So, what am I doing? Sarah Maas, and then we're gonna be done. Here's another UK cover. We'll look at that. Let's go to page 19 here. I'm a sucker for dystopian society, so I'm trying to collect the whole series. Amen. I am also a fan of dystopian nightmare worlds, you know, for a bit of light reading. Everything from Blood Meridian to Brave New World. And every shade of darkness in between. Even though for some reason I can't bring myself to read The Road. And I think it has to, because maybe there's a little boy in it. I don't know. Or maybe because I'm a dad and that might be a little bit too close to home. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just not quite ready to confront those feelings, because like when you read, you put yourself there. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I want to be thinking about all that stuff right now. So mental health break, I guess, probably for Steve. I have some dystopia. I'm a sucker. Like it really takes a long time to get you. I bet. I do like, I've been reading a lot of Vonnegut recently. Like I just read Cat's Cradle for the first time. I actually, right before I read Between Two Fires. So that's really cool here. What is this one? House of this is a Crescent City. I've not seen too many Crescent City ones. I certainly have not seen Sprayed Edges. So you're getting about $50 for that. Ish, you know. Prices are always ish, right? Because like you have to remember on eBay prices, these books have sat and somebody paid up for it. Like, so if I see like a price that's $60, like that might take a month to sell, but I know I can sell it instantly for $30 or $20 or whatever. I just get it out the door. Give someone a deal. Next. I would rather save a mountain of books than bleed the penny out of every single book. Does that make sense? So, because sometimes it's, you know, because obviously I have to eat, but it is about getting books out there, and you got to make it easy. It's like water; it has to flow, you know, and you have to make it easy for the water to flow. Anyway, I'm wrapping up. I'm rambling now. So, Queen of City, Shadows, these are all really cool. So, you guys get the idea with Sarah Maas. She's killing it. She's going to be on the scene forever. If you have some early first editions, probably a good idea to maybe hold on to those. I wouldn't call you crazy if you put them in once you're done looking at them on your shelf, maybe even wrap them up in some like archival type stuff and put them somewhere safe. They're only going to get more expensive. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to go down. Ever. That ship has sailed. There was always, unless Sarah Maas comes out to be like some terrible, awful person, it'll probably still be worth money. Maybe not as much, but to kind of give you an idea, probably the closest equivalent to kind of the meteoric rise, different genre slightly, but is the Harry Potter stuff. And if you were to look at some of her, obviously you guys know this already, but insane, you know, and she's kind of come out to be not such a great person. Do you know what I mean? And her stuff is still her like this is ridiculous. Let me go to completed. I don't even know what that is. $700,000. Get out of my face. That's not real life. That's like a jet. All right, like, see what I'm saying? Like this First State, like they're selling. Like this is, I don't know what that is. But the old stuff, the collectible stuff, you know, hold on to it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, here's the stuff from across the pond. Like, I have every expectation that Sarah Maas's earlier stuff will at some point get to this. This is assuming maybe not quite to this level, because there needs to be movies it needs to take on, like normies need to be aware of it. That's why Harry Potter is so expensive. But I think Sarah Maas has that potential, especially since I think like the age of Marvel movies and things like that is coming to a close. These movies aren't doing well. I think they're really going to start pulling from, as they are already. As you see, like the Hoover movies, McFadden movies, Ruth Ware's got a bunch of movies. They're going to continue to pull more and more movies from book IPs, and Sarah Maas is like got to be at the top of the list. Do you know what I'm saying? So copy Mein Kampf that was signed by the guy, and he wasn't the best guy in the book. Yeah, that's the super collectible. Guy was a total dick, but it's a historic item. You know, it's disgusting, and what it represents is disgusting, but that should be like in a museum. You know, I get it. I get it. I didn't buy it. My great grandpa found it in Germany. He was right there. And a lot of people took a lot of stuff home from the war. First edition Harry Potter books 2 need to fix, but dang, I commit. Yeah. See those? I don't think the restoration on those, just to have that conversation real quick, it may not be that expensive because they're kind of newer books, and depending on the damage, a book that expensive, you want to check the state, make sure that the book that you have is the value in it is worth doing. Just make sure what you have. And I would probably, that's one of the, I don't normally do book restoration because it is expensive and it's very rarely worth it unless there's like sentimental value. But on that, something that might actually be worth it. You have all the original covers except the Barbie cover. I just learned what the Barbie cover was today. I now know what you mean. Before today, I would not have known what you mean. I feel better. Older Mein Kampfs are signed just like before World War II. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on giving it to people who would give it a lot more love than me than actual money. Either way. So that is going to wrap us up. We are going to move on. Let's see who's doing what. We'll get a raid going. We will be back on later tonight. We'll actually be running books. The setup will look a little different. It is up and available for pre-bid. We take photos of everything and stuff and descriptions, and it's all behind me on the shelf. And I freaking alphabetized it, team. I'm going to be so fast. No more looking up and down and all that bullshit. I know exactly where it is. It took forever to do, but I'm looking forward to it because every time I turn around and I can't find something, like the anxiety level rises. Like if we were playing a video game, there'd be like a little meter on the side. Like the longer I turn around, the higher that meter goes up. And if it just gets to the top, I'm just going to crash out, team. So I alphabetized it. No problem. You read his ideas? Yeah. Yes. That man, the mustachioed monster, was a very not good person with a lot of really stupid ideas that I wish a lot of current people would not build upon. Let's raid. That's what I was doing.